Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and I'm having a lot of issues with the 7-year-old on this drawing for Brad Garlinghouse. So I know Brad Garlinghouse is probably not wasting his time listening to me today, but if you are Brad, I'm trying my best. I had to bribe my son again to this time. I'm trying to get him to draw I bought a little frame. And I told my son, listen, I've already told the audience that my son's going to draw Brad Garlinghouse a picture. And I think my son went back on the last deal, which is not cool. But he is 7 and he is a really hard-headed. I don't know where he gets that. So this morning he woke up, and of course with him, it's always a negotiation. He's always trying to figure out if he can get me to go buy him candy or this or that. So this morning I wake up, Daddy, I want Dunkin' Donuts. Daddy, I want Dunkin' Donuts, and he's not going to let it go. And so, Brad, the first thought I had is, okay, now this is where I'm going to get him to do that drawing because I need him to do it today. So, we've already done the negotiation. It's set in stone. The drawing will be done. We threw a couple of ideas around. One was that he would draw Brad Garlinghouse at a mansion. And then I said, well, or you could draw like a private jet. My son likes the idea of money flying everywhere and XRP and all this. So I told him, I said, you could draw a jet. And then he complains that he doesn't know how to draw a jet. And then, so I have no idea what you're going to get. But you're going to get something. I said, all you have to do, I said, I'm finally just going to I'm not even going to tell him what to draw. I'm going to say, it just has to say Ripple on it, and it has to say XRP on it somewhere. So, Brad, all I can promise you is that it'll have those two things on it, and it will say, and it will be in a frame for you when I get it to you. So, there you go. All right. Now, first I wanted to show, I've been kind of, and everybody on Twitter and everything, I've been so kind of behind because when I got back from Vegas, I had already told my father that I would go to a Georgia Tech football game with him. So I went up to Georgia Tech. I even took a picture there. Georgia Tech has I took a picture of, it was the official chiropractor of Georgia Tech athletics. And I thought that was so funny. I said, I don't have an official chiropractor yet. So anybody who wants to be an official chiropractor, I'm looking for one. Anyway, here's the market today. And we're still just kind of sitting there at 29 cents. So as usual, when I'm able to, I'm buying. But the market's been flat, and I'm fine with that because I continue to buy. Now, I told you all that I met Bitcoin Ben in Las Vegas. Bitcoin, a lot of you probably don't realize this, but I spend, as you know, my day, a lot of time. I put a lot of time in researching and finding the best things about digital assets and XRP specifically that I can bring to you every day. And many of you don't realize that when I listen to other people's videos, I listen to a lot of other people's videos because I've already I don't want to rehash the XRP sometimes. One of my favorite guys to listen to is Bitcoin Ben, and I told him this to his face. I probably listen to him more than I do a lot of the XRP people, and the reason is I like to hear what's going on in the other digital asset communities for one thing, but more important than that, and I told him this, I like listening to him because it's kind of similar to what I do on my channel. He inserts his personality into it, and it's not just talking about digital assets. When he's mad about something, you see that he's mad about something. When he's trying to say something, when something's funny, he talks about something. He'll go off on all kinds of different directions. And I guess the summary of that is he's an entertainer. I think the guy's a born entertainer. And so he and I really had a connection. And the reason, I mean, I connect with anyone who is not full of crap and just talks from the heart, because that is my style. That is, I tell it like it is, and that's how I've always been. That's how I was raised to be. Is not, if you meet me, you're going exactly what you hear on this channel is what you, and that was one of the first things I said to Mr. B and Cryptopolis, is that when you leave, you will say he's the same guy that we hear on the channel, and that's true. And Bitcoin Ben is the same way, and that is how he has been successful in his channel. He's got about 25,000 subscribers, and I think you ought to all go subscribe to him. Now, the reason I'm pulling him up again is that he was very nice. He brought up the fact that he met me at about the 34-minute mark, and he talked about me for a long time. I had no idea that he was that fascinated by meeting me. I could tell that he was surprised, but I think he's actually watched me at least some. And so, but it was a very interesting meeting, and I think that it'll be fun to go to some more of these things and to maybe even do some with him. Who knows? But he was very kind in the things that he said about me, and I wanted to acknowledge that and to tell you all to go give him a subscribe. This guy's speaking from the heart. But one of the most fascinating things about this guy is, and this is the reason I went that I'm going to begin to go to some of these conferences, is because it's one thing to gain knowledge by being behind your computer screen and reading up on XRP and digital assets and all of these things. It's a totally different thing to go out and meet some of the CEOs of these companies and find out the things that they will tell you that they won't tell you when they're in an interview. And there are things that are going on that would blow people's mind. Bitcoin Ben, I've heard him say that 1,000 times, that you wouldn't even believe some of the things going on behind the scenes. Well, he's right. And just one example, which I mentioned the other day, someone, I don't remember who, I don't think I remember it, but anyway, someone made some comment, just one comment by my being at that conference, that people on Wall Street, and these were Bitcoin guys and Litecoin. Someone at some point pulled us aside and said something about how the people on Wall Street, or they had friends on Wall Street that have told them, you better own some XRP. Okay, so these are the kind of things you hear. This is the reason I'm going to these kind of things. But with regard to Bitcoin Ben, he's a genuine guy. Go give him a subscribe. The guy even said that I was handsome in the video. And he said not to the point of him having a man crush. But I appreciate that, because as you get older, you feel less and less handsome. So go give him a subscribe. And thank you, Bitcoin Ben. We will be in touch. All right, let's see what we have today. The crypto utility guy, he's the official ex-smoker of the Digital Asset Investor channel, who was shot on Band of Brothers as a Nazi prisoner. Smoking kills. Now, he sent me this. He said his wife, the Run DMC song, he said he kept playing one of the Run DMC songs, and then he had this picture. He's got this hat, Run XRP. So I like that. I wanted to show that to you. But anyway, okay, now let's get to some stuff. XRP Australia, who is the official Australian correspondent to the Digital Asset Investor channel, sent me this right here. This is a tweet. I think it was an article, but many articles you've probably noticed on this channel, many articles are actually just an article that's written around one tweet, and that was kind of what this was. This is from HMX at HMATEJX. My latest investigations into on-demand liquidity have revealed the following. The AUD PHP and AUD MXN quarters are active, already suggested by Hallway Monitor, who I'm following too. Okay. Ripple seems to fund these accounts initially, found an unknown corridor, which is this, with on-demand liquidity. And I think this must be the highlight of it. All of this that we're looking at is Greek to me, except the amount of the amount of XRP. But that he's apparently uncovered something. Now, this response from a Darren XRP was interesting. We know the top 4 banks in Australia are ex-current users. I wonder if one of them is trialing on-demand liquidity now. Who knows? Okay, now Chinu Patel, who is the Financial News Network Bureau Chief of the Planet of the Digital Asset Investor Channel, he tweet several. Of course, he sends me like, I mean, this guy works overtime, big time. But he sent me this, and it looks like it's maybe in Japanese, and I translated it to this. Coinfield CEO, Ripple and XRP will definitely change the industry right away. Sologenic decentralized exchange on XRPL scheduled to open next year. Once in operation, huge trading volumes will occur every day. Sologenic stock market and crypto. This is a currency bridge, and you can use XRPL for quick processing. And I want to give a shout out to these guys at the Coinfield CEO. And any of you out there who are as smart as what these guys are doing, any of you out there who are with any other exchange, such as Binance or any of these exchanges, who are planning something like this using XRPL, then you need to make sure you get in touch with me and some of the different people in the XRP community, because I'll give you exposure for free just because you're doing it. Okay, so let me know. Send me a direct message, and anything that helps the XRP, the adoption of XRP, I am in. It is on like Donkey Kong if you let me know about it. I just wanted everybody to know that. And these guys got to support Coinfield because they are doing great things. Okay, next, I thought this was interesting. From at Bitcoin_Jedi, who follows me, and now I follow them. 1 Bitcoin worth of XRP bought today could have this potential return on investment versus Bitcoin in the future. Something to think about. Okay, so what they're showing you here is if 1 Bitcoin, so $9,000 worth of Bitcoin would be 31,685 XRP, and they're showing you a chart of what that would be in terms of as things go up 2 times, and it shows you exactly what both would be worth. Pretty interesting little chart there. All right, moving along. I'm trying to not make this too long. Peter Schiff. I just noticed that the national debt surpassed 23 trillion yesterday. I'm getting sipping my Dunkin' Donuts coffee without cinnamon in it, by the way. I'm sure they would probably put it in it for me if I asked. I just forgot. Okay. Too bad no one in Washington noticed either. Trump added more than 3 trillion to the national debt in under 3 years. None of the Democratic presidential debates even addressed the topic. A crisis is coming. And I've said this before, and on my channel, I never really take one side or the other with politicians and politics, because what I learned from the financial crisis is that they're all the problem. It doesn't matter which side. Have we ever had any president who's come in who has not made the debt worse, or have we had one president who really actually addressed it? And in my opinion, they know they can't do anything about it. There's only 1 or 2 ways that I believe that they can fix it. One of the ways is to sell large portions of the United States land, or there's 3 ways. One way is to sell large portions of U.S. land to the nations we owe money to. That's not going to happen. Number 2 way, I kind of laid out what I thought could happen, is through the use of digital assets. I think there could be a system put together that way. But number 3 is World War III. So, and World War III is probably the most likely scenario. So anyway, these people have created a disaster. The United States was in the way it was set up initially was exactly the solution the world needed. And it has been perverted and just crapped on by greedy politicians for the last probably over 100 years now. And they've put us in unsustainable debts. They have the culture has gone down the toilet almost. And now we're all in a position of what now? What do you do now? So there's that. Now, speaking of World War III, now You may remember I did a video a while back where I posed the idea that I believe that that here's how big Ripple and XRP really are, that they are partially for the purpose of preventing World War III. And I laid out a little bit on that. Well, you tell me, the US dollar, and a lot of people in the United States do not think about this. The U.S. dollar being the world's reserve currency means that if you buy oil, you have to buy it with U.S. dollars. Okay, take that away, and the cost of living for a citizen of the United States is going to go through the freaking roof. And every single one of these countries, I won't say every single one, but I know China and Russia have been working very in front of the world. There's been articles about it. They've been trying to get around this for the last no telling how many years. If you think that that's not what all of this is about, then think again. They are tired of the United States controlling all the countries through sanctions and all of this different stuff. So, look, listen up. This is the most important thing in this video. Hot and breaking. People's Bank of China, NBK, develops its own cryptocurrency named Yuan. Reserve Bank of India develops its own coin named LAXMI. Brazil develops BNDEC token based on Ethereum's ERC20 standards. Russia develops Loot, which is theirs. And I don't know, and then it says Reserve Bank of India owned cryptocurrency, which will be called Lakshmi. Blockchain technology is being introduced into the public sector. Now, this guy's got a whole thread. Use Google Translator language converter to view contents. The Reserve Bank of India is working on a project of its own national Lakshmi cryptocurrencies. As we go down, plans of BRICS countries to transfer foreign trade between states to settlements in national currencies, with the subsequent development of its own unit of account, which will subsequently be able to replace the dollar and the euro in mutual settlements within BRICS. Now, that's what's in all of these documents. Develop your own cryptocurrency or choose one of the existing cryptocurrencies, which for a certain period will be one of the possible elements of the settlement mechanism in the mutual trade of these 5 countries. To develop supranational cryptocurrency for countries members of BRICS. BRICS nations will soon launch their supranational currency backed by gold. And he's giving you, this is creepy things going on, folks. Now, back to Ripple. Well, the first thing I want to mention is take a look at the Swell website, and you'll notice that there's a lot of people from India that are coming to that Swell conference. Ripple is the only company in digital assets that I know of that is anywhere involved in India, and they're majorly involved. And I think it's to the tune of being involved with over 80% of the banks, if not all of the banks in India. So that's one of the things to take note of in all of this. Second thing to take note of is think about what you've seen. Think about the people that we know that Ripple has been in conversations with the White House. We know that they've met with the Treasury Secretary of the United States. We know that they've been on stage, have people from the SEC working at Ripple now. We know that no one has ever, as Bob Way said, they were worried in the early days of having their doors kicked in. We know that those doors were not kicked in. I've always posed the question, why not? And I also posed that question to an attorney that focuses on regulations in crypto in the Las Vegas airport. And his response to me is that no doors were ever kicked in because they have no case. And then proceeding forward, I believe that not just the U.S. government, but governments around the world have embraced what Ripple is doing and have embraced XRP. I have no proof of that other than just what we've seen publicly. How could I? But okay, moving along. Now, this was interesting as well. This is a remarkable graph. I didn't expect to see correlation patterns between XRP price and Ripple's on-demand liquidity product that early. Reminder, MoneyGram is one company out of greater than 11,000 pushing 10% of one corridor out of 20,000 through ODL. And he's showing this graph here of the, I guess, the on-demand liquidity or the volume of what's going on. So that's pretty darn interesting. All right, NBK Crypto. And I'm not going to go into the article, but he says new data shows most XRP investors are in it for the long haul. According to a sentiment analysis from DailyFX IG, more than 96% of traders are long. And so I can promise you that this, and I'm not a trader, but I'm long. Okay. Let me wrap this thing up. Michael at VAL5 Links, hundreds of depositors gathered at Yichuan's bank offices this week to retrieve their savings before the feared collapse and found they were unable to withdraw their money. This is a rural commercial bank in the Henan province of China. Scary stuff. From Ticket Attorney at Fixed Tickets Vegas sent me this. This was from Emi Yoshikawa, who works for Ripple. Today I participated in the Katina Clothing Festival held at a Thai temple in, I'm butchering names here, Kanagawa Prefecture. SBI Remit's Thai team participated to promote money transfer service for Japanese Thai community. There are still many underground remittances in the world of immigrant remittance, and such steady enlightenment activities are extremely important. Thanks for highlighting runs on Ripple. That's pretty darn cool. All right, and then we've got this. Peter Voss at Peter Voss 6 sent me this. All the world's stock exchanges by size. You can see this at visualcapitalist.com. There are 60 major stock exchanges in the world with a total value of $69 trillion. And then it shows you, it says 16 exchanges with each with a total market capitalization of over $1 trillion can be considered to be in the exclusive $1 trillion club. But they give you a graphic here. So the New York Stock Exchange has around 20 trillion. NASDAQ, it would be around 10 trillion. And then the TMX group would be smaller at around 2 trillion. But this graphic shows you a lot of the money that's traded on these stock exchanges. But if you can just imagine, I mean, if you add all that up, it's quite a bit. The 16, let's see, over 93% of the global stock value is divided between 3 countries. But it shows they've got all sorts of interesting graphics that represent all of this. And what I would say to you is that there will come a day when digital assets will be traded across all of these, and you will have tokenized assets traded across all of these. And here we are, and let's look. Here we are. Look, we're talking just with the New York Stock Exchange, doesn't include anything else in the world. We're talking about $20 trillion. And for those of you that are sitting around all depressed about, oh, we're only at 29 cents. We have $243 billion in all of digital assets. And I watched the Auburn game with some friends last night, and one guy was sitting there who knew nothing about what I was doing with a YouTube channel or anything else. And I can tell you, this guy was utterly fascinated by what I was talking about and had never even heard of any of this. And that's what I think most people are. But I believe when the powers that be are ready for guys like that guy to hear about this, you and I will be sitting back laughing and saying, wow, they just didn't know and we were there. It's going to be the grand slam of your life. Okay, this needs to be addressed. From PhD does tweets. New to crypto space or the XRP community, be aware of scams. Never ever send your crypto to any giveaway and or airdrops you see on Twitter, YouTube, or anywhere else. As in never, or you will lose your crypto money. Please retweet for maximum exposure. You want to get scammed, real giveaways and airdrops don't ask you to send anything. All right. So what he's talking about here is on Twitter, and in the comment sections of some of my videos, every YouTuber's videos. What they do is these scammers will come in and they'll do it on Twitter as well. They'll reply to a tweet that I do, and they'll try to pretend like they are me, or try to pretend like there's some other high profile person. They'll create a fake screen name that looks like it's ours. They'll steal our thumbnails, and then they'll tell you that we're doing a crypto giveaway. And if you send me 1 Bitcoin, then I'll send you 10 or whatever. That's the way the scam works. Do not send anyone your crypto. If you want to try to get wealthy with cryptocurrencies, buy the cryptocurrencies and hold them and put them on a hard wallet and never touch it. Okay? Don't think that anybody's giving you anything. Just stay away from it altogether. Okay? And don't invest more than you can afford to lose. And don't go for these scams. Nobody's giving you anything. I don't even do giveaways. And part of the reason I don't even get into that kind of stuff, and I haven't really done that kind of thing, is for this very reason. I don't want there to be any confusion. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe and hit the like button, and tell your friends and family that I bribed my 7-year-old with donuts so that he would draw Brad Garlinghouse a picture. So, Brad, I hope you appreciate what I've gone through for you. Thank you for listening.